In this demonstration, I'm going to show you how to use the brand new Snowflower stamp, the matching Snowflower die, and the prime branch die plate to make this beautiful spray of sort of Christmas flowers that we've got on the card that we made on another video. So if you want to see how to do this particular card, this is the version that we did on the video, and this is the one that we're going to be decorating. But this one I'm going to concentrate on the flowers and the foliage. So what we need to do first of all is to stamp and die cut our flowers. So I'm going to bring in my Press to Impress, which is the Press to Impress by Crafts2, which to me is the best stamping platform I've ever used. It really is. And here I've got a piece of vellum, and I've already cut this to an A6 size, which is the size of the single flower stamp. So this has been cut to roughly just over 4 inches by just over 5 3/4. So you can take a piece of A4 card, cut it down into 4, and from that you will get 4 full sets of the flowers. And there's 5 flowers in each die, so that will actually give you 20 flowers and centres from that. So this is the stamp, and the stamp is my design of, you get all of the individual pieces of the flower on one stamp plate with these corners. The corners are very important because they allow you to lay out the die on top to make sure you get the pattern all the way to the edge. So we place the stamp in place where we want it, and we pick it up with the lid of the Press to Impress. And because we're going to be heat embossing, we need to use an anti-static bag. And this is my Crafts2 new anti-static bag. Make sure you get some powder out. It's the powder that does the job, not the actual cloth. It's not magic cloth, it's the powder. And then you want to make sure you don't touch it. So what I'm going to do now is use an embossing ink. I'm using the Eyes Ink embossing pad. I love this. It's a really super sticky, clear embossing ink. Great for heat embossing, great for actually creating watermarks. And the fab thing is it has a slight coloration to it just at first. So you'll be able to see where you've actually stamped in case you've missed anywhere. So I'm just going to press my stamp down gently and easily, making sure I press because it's a large stamp in each area. And then we'll peel off, and hopefully you'll be able to see that you can see just lightly everywhere that's been stamped. So now I need to add a little bit of embossing powder. So I'm going to use this, which is Relief Silver from Eyes Ink embossing powders. This is a super fine embossing powder. So I'm just going to slide a piece of card underneath, trying my hardest not to touch the paper too much. But this is a super fine powder, so we're just going to, let's get it on the card, shake this all over. And this is so much easier with the flowers. We'll then take our piece out, take the excess off. If it's not stuck now, it's not stuck. So give it a good tap from behind, and then we'll just pop the powder we've got left back into the pot. There we go. And now I just want to heat set this. So I'm going to bring in my Crafts2 heat resistant mat. I always try and use this for embossing, as it's designed to take extreme heat from heat guns and glue guns and things like that. So I won't warp the paper or the board underneath. I'm going to take my heat gun and I'm just going to heat it up. So you need to heat your heat gun in the same way as you would heat an iron. So once it's hot enough to temperature, certainly on vellum, we want to make sure that the heat is in contact with the card as short a time as possible. So I'm just going to heat this. I'll move the gun as I heat the powder. So there's no wafting. That won't actually help or achieve anything. It'll just mean that it takes longer. So if you notice, I'm following each flower round, and you'll see the design of the flower is like a snowflake. So it's like a snowflake with a little bobble on the end of each one, sort of each flower stem, so that we get a really nice look. But again, you could use this for all year round. Okay. So once that's heat set, I've got that beautiful, pure, bright silver. And there we go. Then move my heat mat out of the way. Just going to move my scissors because I'm going to use my heat mat in a minute. And then all we have to do is to line the die up. So what we do is, you'll notice the corners are missing, and on the stamp we have the corners in place. So check the corners, look to see if it doesn't line up, rotate the die 180 degrees, and you will see that you line up just the corners, but that each individual flower is visible through. And we simply need to tape that down and run that through our die cutting machine. So I'm going to run that through so you can see how each one cuts. And as this is vellum, I give it one pass in the machine because it can slip and slide, and this piece has already fallen out. But you'll see here I get each petal stamped perfectly and cut perfectly in exactly the right place. And as I said, what you'll actually get is 5 double layer flowers out of this die plate. We'll just get the rest of those out. Just pop them out. And you'd also pop out the stamen, but I'll do that in a second. So we can see here, we have 2 pieces for the largest, 2 pieces for the next size, 2 for the next, 2 for the next, and 2 for the smallest. And these have been sized, so there is a 5mm difference between each of the flowers, so they sit very naturally. And all we need to do is simply shape these and put them together. So I'm going to use the glue glaze, which I find is the easiest way to do this, because it's flat and it's a super quick, super grab glue. So a little blob in the middle, rotate the second petal by 90 degrees. You see where it goes from the circle in the center, and that's attached. So we'll just do the second one so that you can see 2 flowers going together. Rotate it round, and again just push in the middle. And once that's done, all I do is pick up the flower, and you can shape this anyway, but all I'm going to do is just put a little fold in at the end of each petal. And you'll see how when you do it as a 6, they just overlap like a natural flower would. But hopefully there you can see the sort of snowflake pattern that you're getting. So the same again with the second one, I'm just pinching between forefinger and thumb over my finger. There we go, very simple. So next we need to do is we need to mould the centres. So I'm going to use the Crafts 2 moulding mat and my Blossom flower kit. And you will get in the set 2 large and lots of these little smaller stamen, and these come out of the die at the same time. So you can see here, I'll just ease this one out. They're included on the plate, so everything you need is included in the one plate. And all we do is take your ball tool and just scribble in the middle, which gives you a beautiful 3D look. So again, all I do is take a little bit of the glue glaze, which is perfect for gluing vellum because it doesn't show through. So if you do any parchment work, this is the perfect glue for it. So again, pop that in the center and just give them a press down. If you want them to be a little bit more 3D, pop them onto your mat and give them a push down. You'll see they pop up straight away. I'm going to add a little bit more. Let's get some fresh glue glaze into the center of each flower, and then I'm simply going to add a gem. So I'm going to add a gem in the middle. Actually, we'll go with a little bit smaller, just so that it's got a center. You could use the Craft Artist pollen, which would look beautiful in here, or you could use glitter. There's loads of different options, but you can see there how very simply and very quickly we have 2 really effective flowers. And again, we will get 3 more from this set if we use the other pieces that are included. But for this demonstration, I've already got some that I've made up, as it's probably boring to watch me do lots and lots of flowers. So those are our flowers. What we now need is our foliage. And so for this, I'm going to use the pine branch plate. And this has been done in a plate idea as well, the same. There isn't a stamp to match with this, but by putting it onto the plate, these dies could not be so close. This would be a lot more expensive set if they were done separately. So it's a very cost-effective way of doing it. And again, designed to fit on an A6 piece of card, so you'll get 4 full sets of the foliage from every single piece that you cut through. So all we need to do now is simply run this through. So once again, I want to show you how I'm going to do this. I'm going to put it on this way on my A5 plates so that the maximum pressure goes on it. So I'm going to run it through. Some of these are quite small and these are quite delicate. So you may find with your die cutting machine, if your pressure isn't right, that they may not cut through. I'm going to rotate it to be on the safe side and run it through again. But if you find any that don't cut, you would simply shim those pieces. However, I haven't really had a problem, but you'll see here, when we turn it over, hopefully you can see that every line is cut. So I'm just going to peel my card off. Some pieces get left in the die, some pieces are in the card, but you can see you get these pieces that look sort of like mistletoe or berry branches. You get the very delicate pieces of the pine branch. So I'm going to take each piece out so you can see how many you actually get. And each one, they are designed to do a left and a right. So there's a left leaning and a right leaning in each one of the pieces. So you get 7 of the mistletoe type berries, left and right, and you get an extra mini one because there was space. Of the pine branch itself, again, you get 3 individuals, but you also get 3 of the branches, and see how these fall out. It's just worth taking a little bit of time to peel them out. So again, you get a left and a right. So I'm just going to peel this one out, and it's not that they don't cut, but because they're delicate, you just need to ease each one out. If you pull from the middle, you will break it. You can see there you've got realistic, but from that die plate you've got all of those pieces. So to make the flower arrangement, I'm going to bring back in my original card, and what I've done is I've actually cut, I've got my flowers here along with my 2 extra pieces, and I've cut the foliage in the silver mirror card, in a silver satin card, and also in the same waterfall glitter card. And I'm just going to do a very simple arranging trick. Now I'm going to use my glue gun. My hot glue gun will work a lot quicker. So again, I'm just going to rest this on my Crafts 2 heat mat. That's what it was designed for. And we're going to start by putting a spray in the corner. So I'm going to put a spray in this corner. I'm going to start with the 2 largest sprays. So a little bit of hot glue on the back. So I've got the left and I've got the right leaning, and you can see there that gives me the perfect spray for the flowers, and they're made a little bit longer so you've got the right place to put the flowers into there. So what I can do is I can add in, put a little bit of hot glue onto this area, so I can start to mix in a couple of pieces of the other piece. So I tend to use the bigger branches first. Let's have that one in there to start with. I'm then going to take the berries, and what I've done for the berries, I'm going to show you this piece. So I'm using, this is a 3D pearl element. You can use glossy accents or Ranger enamel accents, and all I do is just pop a little berry on the round ones and leave that to one side to dry. It gives you the most beautiful looking berries on there, and it's done for you. So here I've got a couple of pieces with the berries. So we'll just put one of those in and we'll have one that's sparkly, shall we? Some nice little berries, and then we start to add our flowers in. So I'm going to go with the largest flower that I made first, and I'm going to pop that into the center. I'm going to take the next size down, and I'm going to tuck that one into one side. I'm going to take one of the smaller flowers, and I'm just going to pop that into there as well. So I've got a lovely collection of 3 flowers, and this is where we start to use the other pieces of foliage. So the smaller pieces then start to tuck in, and this is what brings it to life. So I'm tucking these in between the individual flowers and pieces. So that was a little bit torn. You want to be very careful. I've done this a few times where I let a piece of paper touch it so it colours these, but you can see here, there we go, just tucked in behind to give us that spray. And anywhere that you feel that there is a gap, like there, you just add some more, and you keep adding that foliage until you're happy that you've got a nice selection. So I think I need just one more piece there. That's it. You see how well they're sized and matched to go together. So we've got that beautiful foliage there. Oops, got an extra piece here that seems to have fallen from somewhere, so let's try popping it somewhere different. There we go. And then I'm going to do exactly the same for the other side, but I'm going to use one of the grey pieces first, and I'm just going to place one on. So a little bit of hot glue, we have that across the bottom. I'm going to take one of the silver glitter and I'm just going to cut it down. Just remember, you don't have to use them the size they are. And I'm going to take the sort of medium flower that I've just done, pop that in the centre. So I have 3 on one side and 1 on the other, and then simply take a selection again of the foliage, pieces with the berries, and start to tuck those in until I'm happy with the way that it looks. So it allows you to fill it out and keep working until you're happy with how it is. I think I need another one of those, but I'm going to go with a little bit of a smaller one until you've got the real shape. And I often find that this is a trick that they use when they're flower arranging, and I tend to find that this works for me. You're trying to create a triangle. It seems to be one of the most attractive shapes that we can do when we're doing flower arrangement. So you're trying to create a sort of little triangular piece, as you can see there. So I've got a sort of triangle there and a triangle there, but that just offsets it. I'll bring in the original one so you can see each time it looks different, but by cutting that multiple, we've actually used so little card in that, it's crazy. But a really, really effective card, a beautiful spray of flowers, made very simply with the stamp and the dies from the John Next Door Christmas collection. Enjoy.